hot, bold, sweet, smooth, and always flavorful. Welcome to my morning coffee. 3 generations of successful women, brewed with black girl magic, and French press with class, sass, and style. Gia, Tonya, and Sarita are my morning coffee.
Hold on, wait a minute. It says live. Cool, record. All right. Welcome to another episode of My Morning Coffee, where the conversation is always hot, bold, and full of flavor. Today, we have Ray McKenzie of Starting Point Technologies and Red Beach Advisors. We're going to go ahead and give him an opportunity to talk a little bit about himself and what he's had going on. But before that, let's go ahead and welcome our amazing co-hosts, Gia and Sarita. Let's talk about what's in our cup, meaning what have we been up to, and how you guys are doing today. Miss Gia?
Good morning, everyone. Let me see, what have I been up to? Pretty much nothing. No, just kidding. I've been trying to get my life in order, doing organizing a lot of things that's in my life. I've been doing that. This past Sunday, I did the Hollywood Artisan Marketplace. I've been doing that every Sunday. I missed last Sunday, but it's a marketplace for small business creatives that's in Hollywood. So I got asked to participate. So I've been participating. It was my 3rd Sunday doing it. So I'm going to try to continue to do that, not maybe every Sunday, but every other Sunday. So if you guys want to find the Mahogany Box and Mahogany Box products, you can check me out at the Hollywood Artisan Market on Sundays from 11 to 4.
Has it been picking up especially with COVID and how things have kind of shut down again? How's the crowd looking in comparison to when you first started?
It's funny, when I first started, I think that was the first time they came back because I believe this market has been going on prior to COVID, and they probably shut down when COVID started, and then they started back up. So the first time I did it, it happened to be the same weekend when they had the Pride March and the BLM March in Hollywood. Okay. So we got people from that. After that was over, people came by and checked it out, but it was still slow. Then the following week, it was slow again. It's kind of hit and miss, but I think people are still not coming out the way they did before. And then, of course, Hollywood's kind of been shut down. There's no tourism going on. And I think the market really thrived when they had tourism on Hollywood Boulevard, because we're like a block and a half, maybe north of Hollywood Boulevard. So it's a good location off of Cahuenga. So we're in the middle of everything. And there's also a farmer's market that happens down the street on Cahuenga too. So I just think it's kind of hit and miss. And then when our boy, Gavin, shut us down this past weekend, which, thank God. I think they had a lot to do with people not coming out, and this being a holiday weekend. A lot of people spend time with their family on the 4th of July. So I didn't anticipate a whole lot of people, but because I had committed to doing it, I went on and participated. So I think as the market continues to market the market, I think it has potential to become a really nice and big market, almost like the Melrose Trading Place. And that's probably what they're shooting for, to have a market just like, kind of like that, as big as that. So.
Is the Melrose Trading Place still a thing, or did they?
They had closed during the whole shutdown, but I think this past weekend, because some of the vendors that had been at the Hollywood Artisan Market, they come from Melrose Trading Place. They were doing that, and I think this weekend, because I become friends with some of the vendors now. Yeah. Imagine that. So so some of them, they weren't there this week, so I think they went back to the Melrose Trading Place. I think they opened back up maybe this Sunday. So yeah.
How's parking there? What would you suggest for people that want to come out and just don't want to be bothered with that?
Well, they have a parking lot where you can pay for parking. There's also street parking. So, and I've been talking to the guy who has been the curator of this. You know, he's been asking for, you know, pointers and just feedback and stuff. And I'm probably going to suggest, because I think he has a lot on the weekends, that he might want to lower the lot rate. And, you know, because that's another thing about when vendoring, parking, if it's not a place where you can get parking, people don't want to come, or parking is expensive, they don't want to come. So he might have to, you know, think about lowering the parking rate in the parking lot, just to, you know, get people there.
Okay. Is Uber back active again? I mean, is Uber active, and can we still take Uber and Lyft out there? Is that all good?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can, Uber's active, the buses are still running. So yeah, people can come, you know, and I never really drive to Hollywood even before this. I would probably would have Ubered or, you know, got on the metro, because, you know, I'm all about, you know, public transportation. I love it. So I would, you know, maybe use that or use Uber or Lyft.
Because you'd like to be with the people.
Right. You know, I got to see what's going on in the communities, you know.
Absolutely. So what's up with you, Miss Sarita? What's in your cup this morning? What you been up to?
Well, what's in my cup, I made a smoothie this morning, so oh, it's actually good. Sometimes it's hit or miss. It has been quite an eventful time in the house. I wanted to actually share something with you all. Well, a couple things. So first and foremostly, this is the finished, well, not finished, I still need to put artwork, but Gia, this is an inspo of you. I redid the office. So I did so the walls, this color is like a sage color, and then the accent is gold, and I did gold sponge. And then I have a emerald green couch that I bought. I still have to, I think I'm gonna put on this wall a LED plug-in that says everyone's a unicorn. And then on the other wall is just gonna say inhale, exhale in neon. So I'm gonna get neon lights made and then change the fixture. So it's coming along. This has been a quarantine project for sure. So it's almost there, a few more things. So channeling my energia. And then I wanted to actually share something that Kevin and I, more Kevin, was working on for the last month and a half. And I'm so proud and happy for him. He directed and produced the 4th of July celebration on ABC, so on Channel 7. Yeah, so it was just like a block party, because Grand Park in downtown LA has a 4th of July block party every year. And so since we couldn't do it normally, they had some really great guests and some really great artists. But I'm going to show you something and then we'll come back, because I'm very excited. And I've never done this before, so if I mess up, forgive me. So he told me to do this.
So while you're looking at doing that, you said everyone's a unicorn. I'm confused because you excluded me from unicornness a long time ago. You said unicorns were people that were born and raised in Los Angeles, and I just wasn't sure if everybody could be a unicorn. Can you please explain yourself, ma'am?
Absolutely.
Look at her. Look, you see her, Sarita? She wanna be down with LA now. She wanna be down with LA.
Right, because every other time Leslie Too Short come on and it's a wrap. But you know, if E40 was to ask, but everyone is a unicorn because everyone has something special about them. And so that's what I mean when everyone is a
therapist. Spoken like a true
therapist, right? I don't know if you got, oh, dang it to heck.
We'll get you a unicorn shirt, Tonya.
Maybe. Depends on how nice you are.
Make sure it has the Golden Gate Bridge in the back, okay? All right.
See.
There she is with the tomfoolery and shenanigans. I don't know why it's not. Let me ask Kevin. We can keep talking, but it was just a really cool. Also, one of the guys, he's from Inglewood. His name is D Smoke. He was the finalist. Oh no, actually he won Hustle. What is it? Hustle and Flow.
It was good.
And he performed. He was the performance, and then they had like vendors. I mean, not vendors, but Shepherd Ferry, who is a local artist. Patrick Martinez, who does Peachy folders. A woman by the name of Sancha, who does like rebel music in Spanish. This beautiful artist named, she goes by Mud Rock. But she did the mural, if anyone has seen, on La Brea, and like right before Highland, it was a big mural of Kobe and Gianna. When it was the #1 mural in
The one by McDonald's.
the one right across the street.
Yes, yeah, I have a picture of it.
She was commissioned to do that, and she also, Abbott Kinney has a lot of, they boarded up during the pandemic and during the protests or the uprising. But she was commissioned also to do some beautiful art along Abbott Kinney, where everyone who has passed away at the hands of the police was represented. So she has spray paint of Tamir Rice, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. So it's a beautiful homage. So it was a cool thing. So she was on it, just a lot of different local people. I wish that it was working. It isn't. Ray, as our tech representative, how do I share screen on Zoom?
Oh, I know how to do that.
You'll scroll to the bottom.
I did. I'm at the bottom. Okay.
You should say stop video, participants chat, share screen, record reactions.
Yes, please. Hold on. Here we go. We have manpower and backup.
What's up, everybody? How we doing?
Hey, Kev.
Yeah.
How we doing?
See?
Oh, so keep talking, everybody. You know,
I heard you were busy on the 4th of July. We celebrating 4th now? We can celebrate the 4th?
it was just work. That's all.
Mm-hmm. It's all good. We can celebrate everything. Very
Well, what
good.
have you been up to, Tonya? What's in your cup?
Oh my God. I got coffee this morning in my cup. I ran this morning. I was happy that the beach was back open, strictly for my physical fitness needs. And the weather's nice, so I think I'm gonna take the kids today. It's been a minute since we've had nice weather down the coast, so gonna take advantage of that today. Also, Ray and I have realized that we've been negligent in our parental duties in introducing our oldest son to urban culture. So I have been watching urban movies with my oldest. We watched Harlem Nights last night, and that was amazing. We introduced him to School Days, and I think he thought we were crazy, but totally fine. But we have a plethora of Denzel movies to get through and some other things. So I've been, working and catching
Y'all
up.
need to send him over to his auntie house, okay? He'll get all the stuff over here, all the urbanness over here.
We might need to just send him with you to be with the people on more of a regular basis. So yeah, so it's just been interesting realizing how much we didn't push upon him. So next though, I'm going to be introducing him to Imitation of Life. If any of you guys have seen that, you know why it's such an important movie to many of us, especially at my age. But last night, I was going to tell you, last night was comical when Red Fox, I don't know how well you remember the movie, but when he was messing up at the craps table because he couldn't see. And every time he would shoot, and they would get mad because he would call out the wrong numbers, and they kept telling him to put his glasses on. And then my son kept looking at me like, that's you. You need to. So we just had a moment. It's been interesting. It's been fun. Let's see what Miss Sarita, you ready?
I think so. I think we're ready. All right. So now this is what I've been told. I'm just going to do what I was told. And, oh wait, share screen first. That ain't it.
Just do it.
All right.
She's trying to still get it together. Let's talk about that cute, you got it? That cute hairstyle cut of yours, Tonya.
You like?
Yes, fire.
COVID, it will be a good time for me to try something new since I ain't gonna see too many people in person.
Can you guys see me? Can you see
Yes.
me? Okay. And here we go. Sorry that I'm technologically unsavvy. And go. So, hey, you guys know that person? That's me.
Yes.
That's me. It's my first credit. Yay. I'm an associate producer. I worked very hard. This is D Smoke in the back. And then this is the best part. Look at his name.
Wow. Congratulations, Kev.
Kind of dope.
Check y'all out.
Right on channel 7 in front of the fountain. So I'm a proud peacock right now.
Congratulations.
Peacock, how come you didn't tell us about this ahead of time, Peacock?
Because I was not aware of anything.
Okay.
I knew about it, but I didn't know all the, oh, shoot, sorry. Okay, so this is D Smoke. That's him. But I think what's really great about him and what I really appreciated was the fact that
He's a peacock.
that's his mother, that's his brother, and as we both all know, Inglewood Sir is also his brother. But the great thing about Smoke as well is that he had a 4.1 out of Inglewood High School.
Hey, Inglewood, woo, woo, woo,
Right.
woo.
And went to UCLA, and he is a music teacher as well as a Spanish teacher, and he went back to Inglewood. And so he does, so he actually raps in both English and Spanish.
Hey, Sarita, does his brother also, I think I saw him and his brother on something
You
recently.
saw them on the BET Awards.
Yes, okay, that's what it was.
Yeah, he performed on the BET Awards, and Sir was with him. So he has 2 other brothers. So yeah, that was, I won't give you guys music, but if you want, you can go to, I think it's Grand Park YouTube.
Can you put the link on our page so that everybody can see it? That would be great.
Sure, great, perfect. All right, I think I'm just gonna click out of this, and that's it.
Awesome.
All right, now we're good.
Let us know what's in your cup this morning, what you have been up to, which is a lot. And how you doing? How's COVID treating you?
Me?
Ray.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, perfect. No, it's been busy. I've got some unsweetened tea here, so this is kind of a morning regular.
Hold on 1 minute, Ray. Hold on.
You might want to take your headphones off.
No, we need to get you a My Morning Coffee water bottle for that iced tea. Okay, your wife's in violation right now, letting you have that other brand on the podcast, but we love you, so we're gonna forgive you.
Okay. All right, sounds good. I'll get that replaced.
You might want to try it without the speakers, without the headphones. Yes, let's hear your voice.
Can you hear me?
Yes, much better.
Is that better?
Yes.
All right, sounds good. Gosh, a lot's been going on. So good to see all of you again. I know Gia and Sarita, haven't seen you guys in a while. Obviously, we've been quarantined, but good to see all of you. Yeah, a lot's been busy. Just there's a lot going on. I know we're going to get into it. Launched obviously my new company, StartingPoint.ai. I talked about it the first time I was on your show before. So over the course of the past 9 months, been working on launching that, and we finally got that off and launched it to market and with customers. So that's a big accomplishment. You know, my consulting company, Red Beach Advisors, is still going well and going strong. We're working on some great projects. Family's doing well. Health and fitness is doing well too. So that'll be something else we'll touch on. And then obviously the world is completely different from the first time we talked. So there's a lot of things to touch on. So I'm excited to talk to all of you, and we'll kind of get into it a bit.
So let's go ahead and start with this 30-pound weight loss during COVID. Like, let's just jump into that we've been invited to so many challenges, and we're watching people doing push-ups and for causes and people gaining weight, and you lost 30 pounds during COVID.
Yeah, so the first thing I'll say is, I'm waiting for people to do push-ups for Black people, but that's a whole other discussion that we can do.
Wow. Let them know, Ray. We just,
But with that, kind of my weight loss thing wasn't it wasn't a challenge. It wasn't anything too formal. It wasn't anything crazy. It was more so something I kind of just started. I started February 2nd, and I really just was like, okay, well, I'm going to the gym all the time, and people know I go to the gym pretty regularly and stuff. I post about it regularly and try to tell people to take care of themselves. And it's not more so just to preach or anything like that. It's just, hey, we're getting older, got to take care of ourselves. Obviously, this is pre-pandemic, pre-virus stuff, but it was more so, okay, so I February 2nd, I just decided, hey, I need to kind of cut something that's in my diet that I kind of want to change and kind of see the effects of it. So it was just an experiment. So I decided to cut all processed sugar, added sugar, and sugar substitutes from my diet. So, if I drink a lot of juice, I eat a lot of cookies, cereal's a good thing. Obviously, I go to the gym and run and work out and lift. And so I was relatively big, good muscles and stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, let me just cut this from my diet and see what happens. So processed sugar, added sugar, sugar substitutes. It was first and foremost. So, I could still have fruit, natural fruit. I was still drinking, obviously, water and teas and things like that. And it wasn't a specific diet. It wasn't like I read the Atkins diet or keto diet or whatever. I just decided I'm going to cut the one thing in my life that I know is not the best for me. And so I cut sugar. So the first week was terrible. I had headaches. I didn't sleep well. I pretty much went through, withdrawals in terms of sugar. But over the course of the first 2 weeks of doing this and just really trying to stick at it, and one thing I do is, I would write it down every day, like, hey, don't have sugar. So it's on my list every day. And so over the course of the first 2 weeks, I lost 10 pounds. And so that was just sticking with my regular routine of gym in the morning, still eating regularly and just not having sugar. So I shed 10 pounds in the first 2 weeks, 15 days. Then from there, I just kept at it, and it became more of a lifestyle with me. And so this is all pre-pandemic too. So I was still going to the gym, still working out, still running, still lifting. And every 2 weeks thereafter, I was losing 5 pounds every 2 weeks. And so then the pandemic hit. And so obviously they closed the gyms and things like that. And so I started running more and more. So I started running the streets. But to get into all of this, kind of before something that happened, was I go to the doctor 2 or 3 times a year. I get my blood drawn, do a full battery of tests, all that stuff. And so, started running the streets. I had chronic knee pain from running and athletic activities and stuff like that. And I just, my blood pressure had started to creep up a little bit higher than normal, which isn't too irregular. Other people would say, oh, it's not crazy, but it was a little higher than normal. And so I was like, let me change what I'm doing. And so I started running more. I started with 2 miles a day, and then I turned into 3 miles a day, and then that turned into 4 miles a day, and then it turned into 4.5 miles. And now it's like, then it turned into 5 miles, and then it turned into 6 miles recently. So I'll run, anywhere between 4 to 5 times a week based upon my schedule. And over the course of February 2nd to now, I've been able to withstand and keep the weight off. I'm down about 30 pounds. So, I mean, it's just an experiment, but now it's become more of a lifestyle, and that kind of worked for me. So just my advice with people who are trying to get healthy, trying to, possibly lose some weight, possibly change some of their vitals or blood results or things like that, or even health symptoms, just find what you indulge a lot in that's not great for you and cut it.
Now, Ray, because I think we all on this page, don't go shaking your head, Tonya. Don't do that. But I know that you live with a woman who, for lack of a better term, is an extraordinary cook. And the tasty treats of her her peach cobbler, and her shrimp macaroni salad, I know that I wouldn't be able to live in a house with a woman who's able to make magic in the kitchen and be 30 pounds lighter. So for me, I mean, I know that you're a disciplined person, but you are literally sleeping next to your let's see, how would I want to put it?
Top chef.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was just discipline. It was like, got to draw a hard line. Hey, you know, everybody else in the house can have whatever they want.
And they do, and they eat it often in front of you.
Yeah, it just became a lifestyle after a while. It was just, hey, this is what I'm having. If it has this, I just can't have it.
So,
because that was just kind of what I set my mind to. Well, but also I tied that goal to starting my new company and launching my new company. So
okay.
I won't have sugar until I launch Starting Point.
Okay, so now you can have sugar.
Yeah, I can. I have.
Okay, because my question was going to be, so are you like never going to have peach cobbler ever again?
I mean,
all those good things, because if you are never going to have it again, then your portion of what Tonya makes, we can put it in a container and call me, and I don't even have to come in the house. I can just do a drive-by. I can toot the horn, and you know, one of the kids can bring it out to me.
There's usually you got to fight the kids over it. That's a whole other situation.
Oh, okay.
And it has to make it to you at that point. But for me, I went 101 days without sugar. Just
good.
Added sugar substitutes, and it just
you're my inspiration.
Kept going, and so you know, as it kept going, it was.
It's like your bank account. When you see it increase, you don't want to spend because it just keeps growing.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, you know, after a while, you just make natural choices for other items. So your body.
So what are some of the other items that you were that you were putting in place of the things that you would normally eat?
You know, we'd have, I'd go to bed instead of having dessert. That's first thing. I'd have a lot more fruit, just natural fruit. And then I drink a lot of water and unsweetened tea. And then something else that was a kind of a substitute drink was Zevia, Zevia. And that was a better drink for me. So it was primarily water, tea, and Zevia, because I used to drink a lot of juice, or I want to drink a lot of juice or sodas or stuff like that. You know, I love Mountain Dew. All that's cut.
Who says that over the age of 20? I love Mountain Dew.
It's the best soda going. It's the best soda going. Sorry for
the way my life is set up, my body would be destroyed with some Mountain Dew right now.
You know, but after I had sugar, after I didn't have sugar for a while, and then I had sugar again, I had a Mountain Dew, and it made my head hurt. So, you know, I haven't had one since. But yeah, I just substituted all the things that I normally would have in the sugar and just found other substitutes for it, whether it be water, whether it be fruit, whether it be all natural fruit smoothies, whether it be, you know, tea or black tea, you know, and I don't drink coffee. So since I don't drink coffee, I don't have sugar in my coffee. So I don't have that problem.
I'd like for us to go. Oh, Gia.
No, I don't have. I'm just in awe, as always, with the McKenzies. So
okay. That is true.
Listen, it was rough on the household though, because we're used to, you know, the kids are older now and we're in the house, so they're baking and he won't eat the cakes that they're baking. You know, they want to eat certain things, but then he would not partake. So it's a little bit of an adjustment for everybody, right? Just seeing that he would just pass on a lot of things. And it became such a natural thing, you know, it was just like, whatever. So they decided they weren't baking anything else until he could partake. So
that's sweet.
But with that, you know, a lot of us pulled back on things that were not good for us. But even me now, some things are too sweet. Some things are too sweet. We, went out to eat the other day and I had sweet tea and it was just too sweet. I don't like plain black tea, but even being able to peel back some of our addictions, because I am definitely addicted to sugar myself. When someone changes their lifestyle, it allows for everybody else around them to, you don't have to go to the extremes, but to really start to push more healthy options in front of you. So it's been kind of a lifestyle change for everybody, particularly the kids, and now they get to see too that it's not just what you say, it's also what you do. So,
You're still vegan?
And it wasn't only just cutting out the sugar. I still paired it with working out. I still had to pair it with, at times your body will plateau with different things that you're doing. So even if you do something for 30 days, you're going to have to change things up often.
Yeah.
I would switch to, at one point I went from, just 4 meals a day to 6 meals a day, and they'd be small. So it'd be, you speed up your metabolism a bit more. This is all an experiment. I'm not a health doctor, a health coach, fitness coach, anything like that. I'm just saying what worked for me. Everybody's a bit different, but I would cut sugar, I'd work out, I'd run, I'd lift, and then I'd shed some weight. And then after a while, I'd hit the scale and I'd be at the scale for the same time for like 5 to 7 days. So I knew something had to change. So then next thing you know, I'd change to something else and I'd switch to 4 to 6 meals a day. And so then I'd have 6 meals a day, and that was extremely tough to do. So, and not big meals, but
Just eating 6 times a day.
Just preparing the food, stopping what you're doing, gathering the food, making it, eating it. You kind of have to go on a pattern of every 2 to 3 hours you're eating something. And then that just became tough, and so then you switch and that breaks the plateau, and then you go start losing more weight, and then you do something else and switch it up. And for people who want to lose weight, I would just suggest a couple of key things. Eat off the small plate, not the big plate. That's more of a mental thing, which is if you have a smaller plate and you are taught growing up to eat everything on your plate, you just eat what's on that small plate. Don't get seconds. Don't go back for more. Eat what you're going to eat and walk away. Obviously try to stay as fit as possible and healthy and get some workouts in. But I'd say if you're sweating and working out, the workout doesn't start until you start sweating. So when you start sweating, that's when the clock starts. And so get 30 to 45 minutes in. And then cut back on whatever thing you eat a ton of. So if it's cheese, cut back on cheese and dairy. If it's bread, cut back on the bread that you munch on every day. If it's chips or things that aren't good for you, that's a tough thing. If it's sugar, cut the sugar. Those would be the things I would suggest.
Good stuff. So let's go ahead and jump into that other thing you were doing during COVID, launching this new company, launching this new software, this new platform. So tell us about that. You kind of gave us a few little hints about it on the last show, but you've gone full force with it now. So let us know kind of what that's looking like, where the idea came from, and what that launch has been like, and what it's like to be a Black founder.
Yeah, it's an interesting journey. I think when we talked before, it was still relatively in its infancy. Like it was still primarily in development, and a lot of it has changed over time. So, a lot of us were taught, write a business plan for your business, and kind of structure a 3, 5, 10-page business plan. I'll tell you this, typically when you write a business plan and you structure a business plan, it more than likely is going to be completely different from when you actually get to launching your business. And so whatever and for those people who issue or draft business plans or write business plans or whatever, it needs to be more of a consultative thing with the business owner, not necessarily here, pay me $500, I'll write you a business plan and go off and do what you need to do. Structuring a business is, hey, when you come up with the idea, if you're building your company right, it's going to change over the course of 3, 4, 5, 6 months, simply because things in the market change, things with competition change, pricing change. Maybe you want to offer different services. It's continuously evolving. And so what I try to tell people is, when I was building my company, when I was just building Starting Point as a product, it was completely different than my first company, which was Red Beach Advisors. So it's an actual product. So I was building that product based out of a need for my own needs within my consulting business. But as I talked to more companies and more people, they also needed the same type of software solution. So as I kept talking to them, more ideas and more pieces came to the puzzle in terms of, what I'm building, what I needed to build, and why it would be valuable for people or individuals or companies and teams. And so it started out just being, a customized portal that somebody could, brand for your business. And then it turned to be kind of a service management platform for small to medium companies and teams. So it's extremely tough, obviously, a development team, and then myself, and early mornings and long nights. And, I'm a workaholic anyways. But, Tonya can attest, I've got development meetings at 9 p.m. at night. Sometimes I start my mornings at 5:30 in the morning with meetings. This morning I started at 5:30 in the morning, and we'll go throughout the day. But it's a challenge. I think every step of the way, there's different hurdles you have to meet and exceed, and then you've got another hurdle and another hurdle and another hurdle. For Starting Point itself, and for a short description, Starting Point is a software as a service platform, and that's SaaS for people who are obviously in the tech realm. A SaaS platform designed for service management for small companies and teams. So it can be for companies that are between 2 to 20 individuals and teams that are between 2 to 20 individuals. And what we're trying to do is streamline service and client management for them through one central portal. So you'll have one website, you can have your own website. On your website, you'll have a client portal. It'll look like your company, feel like your company, but all communication will go through there, which allows your team or your employees or other individuals that you work with to manage incoming requests, outgoing requests, and just make sure nothing drops on the floor. I think for all of us, we know that, we've worked with companies that we've sent emails to, and then, or sent communication to, or documents to, and then they never respond. And
so Ray,
what happened?
So it's pretty much for the lay people. It's almost like a hub.
Yeah. It's
okay.
A hub for communication.
Okay, so for example, I'm just giving an example for our viewers and stuff. Like, there's something that maybe My Morning Coffee, the podcast host, could probably use, because it's 3 of us. So all information dealing with the My Morning Coffee could be filtered, it would go through there, and we all would see it. So I have the ability to tap into it.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And
so with that, we've all worked with people, vendors, companies, good or bad, and we've sent them emails, we've sent them documents, we've, especially small businesses or small teams, and they may use a shared inbox or a shared email box, or everybody's using their own email and they're trying to figure out who's taking what, where, when, and how. This allows everybody, all of your customers, clients, people you work with, to go through one portal, kind of send in inquiries, respond to inquiries, share documents, kind of chat internally. And it's really meant so that nothing falls on the floor. And to the use case, to an easy use case for everybody to understand, we've all had vendors we've sent emails to, they didn't get them. And then we have to send another email again, or we've got to call them, or we've got to follow up and say, did you get this? And then next thing you know, then what happens? Then you're frustrated as a customer. The company's frustrated because they're like, we didn't see it, so it's a little bit embarrassing. So how do you solve that issue and really streamline service management for companies and teams?
Wow, that's very interesting.
Launching a business during COVID. Like, I mean, I know that many people that I've worked with, Zoom calls, like you said, are starting at 5:30, 5 a.m. sometimes, and going to 9. So there's, Zoom fatigue that sets in. I know that you're also used to traveling a lot for work historically. So I get really interested on what that's been like for you to have to utilize technology or whatever to build your company in a moment when you'd probably be doing live demos or going out places and things of that. So how has COVID changed your strategy, if at all?
I'd probably say this is the longest I've continuously been home for the 14, 15 years, I'd say, maybe even longer than that, for an extended amount of time, I'd say. And well, I definitely say it's been 14, 15 years, the longest time I haven't been on a flight, you know, and so wherever that may be sending me. But during this time, it was actually helpful. And why do I say it's helpful is because it allowed me to actually sit down and focus. So it allowed me to just have a regular schedule. I wasn't having to travel. I wasn't having to catch flights. I was able to kind of focus, schedule meetings throughout the day. It actually accelerated the ability for me to deliver the product and launch the company. Because I'm sure if this didn't happen, it would take another 2-3 months for me to get it going. You know, and so this has allowed me the time on the weekends, the time during the week to just kind of narrow down, focus, sit in front of my computer and make sure, you know, all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. And so it's been beneficial. You know, COVID, while as disastrous as it's been for a lot of people, you know, I've been able to hopefully make the best of it, launching the company. I think that's, you know, that's a big thing. And it actually helped accentuate the use case for Starting Point, because now we've got for companies that have been completely displaced. And so I've talked to a few people about this, a few podcasts about this in the past couple of weeks, which is, you know, we have this concept of digital transformation for companies. So now, you know, a simple case is Zoom. You know, now everybody utilizes Zoom or utilizes WebEx or utilizes, you know, all these different platforms, Blue Jeans and Google Meet and stuff like that. Whereas before, people weren't really familiar with it. Now everybody's like Zoom, Zoom, Zoom. You know, I've been utilizing Zoom for 5, 6, 7 years in different platforms or different capacities. So digital transformation for companies typically was a thing that people would talk about, and then they put a slow roadmap together, and then over 3 years, they'd accomplish maybe one thing they wanted to update, whether it be, hey, we want to use email. Hey, we want to use Slack. Hey, we want to use a Salesforce or a HubSpot, or we want to use another technology. Whereas those 2-3 years, because of COVID, happened in a matter of 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that helped justify the need for what Starting Point is, which Starting Point allows remote and distributed teams to work together in a collaborative fashion. And so since, you know, that there are a couple benefits of it, as you know, I'm probably more of the optimist than the pessimist of things. And so, you know, I'm looking for, you know, the bright side of how this has benefited things. So it's worked out well.
It's funny you say that, Ray, because all we hear is all the negative things about COVID, or everybody's mad about COVID. But to me, I'm just listening to you and then me reflecting on myself over this time. I think there's a lot of benefits to COVID that nobody's talking about. And for one, like for you launching your company and being able to really get more hands-on or give more time to getting the company launched sooner than it would have been if you were still doing your regular traveling with your job. So a lot of people who are forced to stay at home, you know, they're mad about being home, but to me, utilize this time to create or do some things that you always wanted to do. And also for me, I'm learning things with COVID because my job, I have a blue collar job, as you know. So most of, you know, our stuff was manual. Yeah, we do have computers, don't get me wrong. But as far as all this technology and these Zooms and things like that, I was one that never really got into that or didn't have to use those kind of things to do my job. And now we're using them more on my job too, but I'm using them more in my personal life. And I'm learning through COVID. That's what I think about COVID. I'm learning things and things that I didn't want to really be bothered with. I'm finding now I have to learn how to do this stuff, especially with, you know, with your wife having, you know, being around your wife. She's whipping me into shape slowly but surely. And I think that's a good thing. And I think we should talk about more of the benefits of COVID, the positive things that COVID is bringing for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of negatives about it. Obviously, I think we get pounded with a lot of the negatives that are just in regular day media and press. And obviously, I think it's we've had a lot of death, we've had a lot of sickness, we've had people tragically be removed from our lives. And so that's a bad occurrence. And then it's also highlighted a lot of the dysfunction from the top and bottom up in terms of handling crises of these nature. So that's a tough thing to deal with. That's very bad. But we also get pumped with that a lot of times, like media, negative. Whereas there's people that are doing some great things during this time. And so, I think it goes back to Kevin being able to produce the BET special or the ABC special for July 4th. And being able to launch. I know Sarita's done some different things in terms of launching her practice and moving forward. And Tonya with Sand and Shores has done some great things with her customers and clients. And then Gia, obviously, you've been pumping out goods left and right for people amidst the time. So there's a lot of things that people are still getting done during this time to move things forward. And we don't highlight that enough. Business
right.
Going. There's been a lot of successful things that have happened, and so. It's all about how you look at it. You can learn, you can read books, you can develop products, you can take on new projects, you can work on that one thing that you just haven't been able to get to for a long amount of time. And then you're not as distracted as you normally would be because the regular hustle and bustle and what we refer to as, LA traffic isn't there anymore. So, I think there's a lot of things that we have been able to work on, as well as since we're sitting still, we save a lot of money.
What has it been like to be a Black founder right in this moment with COVID, with a lot of the grants and things that are coming out, with people also acknowledging and becoming more aware of the disparities in investing with founders of color?
I haven't, I've for this company specifically, obviously we've bootstrapped it and, I funded the entire project so far, which I've been fortunate to be able to do. But a lot of the grants and things like that for people. So the PPP loan, the EIDL loan, that will work relatively well. And actually for everybody who's watching, there's still money out there. So if you have businesses, it's been extended and there's like $130 billion still out there for official small businesses to go out there and get. So I would recommend that any small business try to go get it. It comes to a good interest rate. It works out well. Tough process, but get it done. It's beneficial. With that, all the other grants and programs and things of that nature, I think they meant well. However, they were not executed well. And that even goes to the PPP loan, which was, something that everybody was like, hey, it's for small businesses, but small businesses can range from anything from $5 million on down in terms of annual revenue. And so, whereas most companies you think of small businesses are those mom and pop shops and things of that nature. No, right. The classification for that is so wide. But it meant well. It went well, and then they went back and revised and fixed it up. However, a lot of the other grants that have been available from companies, they're getting inundated with requests and applications too. So it just kind of takes time. And then sometimes they move the goalposts too. So LA County did that, which was, they had applications for companies and they had a grant and they set a deadline and a time. And then next thing you know, I'm up at 8 o'clock to fill out my form. I fill it out. I get like a single digit number. I'm like, bet. All of my paperwork's in, my application's in, I qualify. And then next thing you know, 4 weeks down the line, they come back and say, well, we got so many applications, we're just going to do a lottery for people. So we're just going to pick numbers out of a hat. And I'm like, well, if that was the case, I could have just slept in, or something like that. But you move the goalposts, everybody doesn't get allowed in. And so that creates a bit of difficulty with it. Some of the other programs have worked out well. you just kind of have to look. And then in terms of going back and being a Black founder, so I definitely want to touch on that. I haven't had to specifically try to go and raise money just yet. We're in the process of doing that, raising some growth capital, and we're just started that process. But the benefit of it is I have a wide network of amazing individuals I've worked with throughout my career. And some of them are friends, some of them are everybody's longtime friends. And so it's all about starting the company is all about doing the most with the least, trying to get as far as you can without having a ton of resources, a ton of capital, a ton of people, things like that. Now, I've been able to leverage a lot of the people in my professional network, and they've been able, and I've asked them for help, and some of them have come on board and joined the team, which has been fantastic. Some of them have said, hey, we're looking to do some different things. Now that COVID has hit, we're looking to have a transition as well and get involved and try something new. So I'm like, come on board. Let's see if we can figure it out. I've always tried to reach back and help some friends. And I tell them, hey, if we can do this together, let's all level up and it'll move us up a bit. But I've also been able to take advantage of what I call displaced interns. And these are the people who they're interns, great students from great schools who, have not been able to secure their internships with other companies because of COVID. So when COVID hit, a lot of large companies cut programs, cut internships, cut availability for students to work with them and get experience. And so I've been able to reach back and say, hey, I've got, obviously Ray Jr. is part of the program. He goes to Sarah Lawrence College in New York. Charlie Reed, who's my frat brother, who goes to San Diego State. Eamon Baja, who goes to University of Virginia. And then I've got two other interns from UCLA and Anderson School of Business. And so, I've been able to bring them in as well. And so I've got a team of about 14, 15 people now working with Starting Point. So I've been able to try to do the most with the least. And so fast forward to being a Black founder, you have to get used to doing the most with the least. You have to get used to proving yourself more and more and more.
And over and over and over again.
And less and less and less before people start to realize and say, hey, this is something that, I can do, or something, an accomplishment I can meet. And so you do have to prove yourself more and more and more. I mean, I've built Red Beach Advisors in 5 years, and the company's great and it's doing well. However, this is a new company, and so people are still like, can you do it again? And so you do have to, one, build an idea. Two, take the idea and a concept and actually turn it into a product. Three, not only turn it into a product, but also build it into something, go to market and be able to sell it and have it available for people to sell. And then you have to actually have people buy it and pay for your product. And then you have to have more people pay for your product. And then people will start to say, hey, maybe this is somebody I need to get. So, but on the flip side, I've asked a lot of people for feedback, and I've gotten a lot of honest feedback, and I've gotten had a lot of great conversations over the past 2, 3, 4 weeks with people who, run capital firms or, funding firms or venture capital firms, angel investors, and they're all fantastic people, and they're giving me insight into the process. And so that's really what you want, is that honest feedback to let you know what that measuring stick is or where that goalpost is. A lot of us don't know what that is. We don't have a network of people that will allow us to understand what that is. We're just kind of flying, blind for the most part. And so, it's an interesting experience. I mean, I'm having a lot of people that are available to help me or willing to hop on the phone, give me feedback. I've got a different set of circumstances than most Black founders, simply because I've kind of built one company before.
But I think that's something that is really important, Ray, is that you said you can get people on the phone. And I think that's a part of COVID that we don't talk about. I think that's one of those positive things that, yes, the 4 of us are sitting down, but so is the rest of the nation. So those calls that we were hoping to be able to jump on, or those people that we've been chasing for the last 6 months, everyone is rethinking things and everyone is sitting down. So it's like, we got time. If you want to jump on a call, if you want to, whatever, it's like we can have that conversation instead of trying to fit in somebody's schedule. I think that's been positive.
Yeah,
Ray,
that's
Ray,
another
real
thing.
quick to relationships. And I think a large part of your success has been relationships. And I think sometimes we get caught up in not taking the time to have a conversation and build relationships with people if we don't feel like we're getting anything from them, right? But it's important to foster relationships even when there's no money exchanged.
Yeah, like and to Sarita's point and your point, Tonya, is, you know, take advantage of people sitting still. You know, people's calendars now are more open. We don't have to sit in traffic for an hour and a half in the morning and an hour and a half at night. You know, people are, for the most part, people are willing to take meetings and take calls and make themselves available, which is great. And so, you know, there's a thing that a lot of people do called office hours, which is they open up their office hours for a certain amount of hours for people to call and talk and schedule meetings and just kind of talk and get feedback. So take advantage of those if you're building a company, if you can find people that are looking for office hours or offering office hours in your specific vertical or industry or technology or line of business and things like that, people that you want to run things across. Now, to the relationship side, yeah, definitely. I try to use relationships to the best I can. And that goes both ways, which is I can have a great conversation with somebody and I want to introduce them to other people. And so I'm not always looking to take. I'm always hopping on the phone thinking about how can I learn more about this person and how can I introduce them to somebody in my network that can possibly help them or what they're working on. And I don't ever hop on the phone thinking about, hey, I need to get something from somebody else. You know, if I get something from somebody else, more than likely, I just want feedback and insight. You know, I'm not saying, hey, you know, hop on, give me this, give me that, give me this. It's all a course of the discussion or chat or conversation that we're having. So, you know, an example is, you know, I hopped on the phone this weekend with the gentleman. He pinged me on Twitter and, you know, he was somebody who could possibly help me with what I'm doing with Starting Point. But in telling our stories, it came out that I could possibly help him more with what he's trying to do with his career. And so I've got like 5 or 6 different introductions I've got to give him, you know, or I'm going to give him just off strengthening the relationship. And so with that, it's more of a, you know, you're just trying to have conversations, develop relationships, learn what drives people. Even if you can't help them now, keep in touch. If they can't help you, keep in touch. Maybe there's a time to where it gets to a point to where the relationship becomes beneficial and I can help them and they can help me. And then, you know, we continue to grow and grow and grow. I think that's the most genuine way to do it. And so relationships for me, I've always tried to do that in my career. So, you know, when I went back to building my team, I've always tried to work with people I like, great relationships with, and it's worked out relatively well. If you have good relationships with people, it goes a long way, and you never know where people are at in their careers to whether you can help them, they can help you. And if you just keep in touch, those sometimes those things just come to fruition.
Very good. Well, let the people know what you have coming up and how they can keep up with Starting Point, with any projects, if they can help with anything, investing, conversations, any of that good stuff. Let them know where they can find you, follow you, and get in touch with you.
Yeah, I'd say if anybody wants to have a chat conversation, I'm always available and we can find time to talk. You can find me obviously on Facebook, Ray McKenzie. You can find me on Twitter, Ray MC209. You can also find me on LinkedIn, which is Raymond McKenzie. You can also find obviously the new company is Starting Point. So it's www.StartingPoint.ai. And so you can check out the product. And if you want a demo, fill out the form and we'll be able to kind of execute a demo for you so you can check it out. And then if anybody just wants to talk in terms of careers or, you know, different things they want to get into, whether it be technology, whether it be business, whether it be entrepreneurship, whether it be some roadblocks or obstacles, I'll make myself available to have a conversation.
Hey, before we go real quick, you are mentoring some awesome kids at HBCUs. What is that like? What is that experience like for you working with them? Because you did, you went to San Diego State, but are you learning anything about the HBCU life, and how are they doing right now?
Yeah, so I do quite a bit of work with Tuskegee University and Alabama A&M. How Tuskegee found me, I wrote a blog that got published on some website out there, and a professor reached out to me and was like, hey, I'd love for you to get involved in mentoring some of the students there in their School of Business and Economics and Technology. And so I was like, perfect, I'll jump at the chance to do it. With Alabama A&M, I actually had somebody ping me on LinkedIn, and then they introduced me to the professor at Alabama A&M who was starting a kind of classes based around entrepreneurship. And so I volunteered, and I love to get involved in things like that. Kids and education are kind of my passion. I'm also the board chair of Resolute Academy, which is based here in Watts, California, which is a charter school. And so with the HBCU specifically, it's just mainly about showing the kids an example of someone who has taken a path in business and technology, and then has been able to also execute that to a point to where it's a position of either leadership or entrepreneurship in building companies. One of the challenges that I see a lot within a lot of the HBCUs and students is, there's the popular ones. We get the Howards, the Hamptons, the Spelmans, the Morehouses. You get those, but then there's hundreds more of small HBCUs that need funding, that have alumni, that have students that need exposure into, what we as professionals are doing and how we got to where we are now at. And the challenge is they don't see a lot of that from people that come back in. They may have some people give, donate money, which is fantastic. And we need to do more of that. But we also need to reach back to the schools, whether you went to the school or you didn't go to the school. And I didn't go to either of the schools, but it's about reaching back and showing them where you are, how you got there, and sharing that experience of the steps they need to take to get there. Because there's a large gap, and I've got some associates of mine who are working on a solution on building and bridging this gap, which is, when they go to college, there's a challenge between you going to college and what you've learned there, and then trying to find an appropriate opportunity in the workforce that will allow you to gain experience with what you've learned in college. And there's a gap there, and that gap moves really, really quickly now. So it's like, if you're out of school for 3-6 months, you're behind in technology, you're behind in how people are actually doing business. And so, for some of these students, they just need to know what that path is and how to get there. And then also, they don't also have the resources that some of the larger public schools have or private institutions have with huge endowments. So how do you give them the opportunity to work with new technological companies or new firms and get exposure to these things that are happening in real life? Like, just one of the experiences I've had is in talking with students, the first thing I ask is, what do you want to do once you're done with school, or kind of what career do you want to get into? And they're always, I won't say always, but a lot of them are thinking smaller in terms of what they can do, or they're thinking of careers that are 5, 7, 10 years old and not relevant right now. And that causes another problem, because if you get out of school and you expect a career in something that's not going to be present too much longer, you're stuck. You have to go back to school and incur more debt, and then you're going to run into the same additional challenges. So it's all about exposing them to ideas that are much bigger, exposing kids and students and young adults to ideas that are forward thinking and not in the past.
And it's hard to do that when many of the colleges or HBCUs are in the South. And so that also brings up another challenge, because, there's still systemic racism in the South and the opportunities that our Black kids would get is also cloaked under this veil of racism. And so that also creates a really strong barrier between the being able to have those opportunities and not, which is, even saying that in 2020 is still quite unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, and that goes back to resources. You know, we just don't have the resources available to us that other universities and schools have had. You know, and that all kind of trickles down. Is, you know, if you're trying to learn technology from a school that has an endowment of, you know, 75 million or 150 million dollars versus a school that is operating off a budget of 15 to 20 million dollars annually, those differences are massive. You know, and the availability of different tools or outlook or thinking or, you know, books and things like that for students, the opportunity is much smaller. I can't pay for all students to have a great speaker to come on site and speak to all my students. I can't afford to, you know, send students to go to maybe participate in a class at NASA or something like that for a period of time. You just don't have those opportunities. And so for a lot of us, we just kind of, whether you went to the school or you didn't go to the school, and I know a lot of people, you know, wanted to bash the Facebook group that was created which ended up being a challenge group, and which was great. And they were raising money for HBCUs and things like that. We should want to do that. You know, like if we've got rooms on Facebook or social media that have 100,000 people on it, it doesn't hurt to give $5 to the cause. You give $5 to the cause, that's a $500,000 check that can then go to furthering the next generation's education. You know, and it's group economics, which is something that we don't really employ a lot.
Yeah. We need to talk about that group economics.
Yeah.
We need a whole podcast for that.
But you really have to think about, be selfless to a certain extent, which is, hey, you know, I can give $5 to this cause. You know, $5 over the course of 50 weeks is $250. In a month, most of us are spending that on
Coffee,
dinners, coffees, things like that. And so there's ways for us to give back. Me mentoring students is just one method in which I try to give back and try to teach students to think big, dream big. You can do it. You can create whatever you want out there. There's people out there that are willing to help you. You know, you're going to get a lot of no's in the process, but that one yes can be golden. So, you know, that's kind of my involvement there.
Very good. Well, it looks like we could bring you back again. So as you continue to progress with Starting Point, and I'm sure something else coming up, we'll be able to bring you back and talk about that too. Ms. Gia, why don't you let us know what you have coming up and how the people can stay in touch with you?
What do I have coming up? Not this weekend, but the following weekend, I'll be at the Hollywood Artisan Market again. And other than that, you can find me on Facebook, The Mahogany Box, and Instagram, The Mahogany Box.
Very good. Ms. Sarita?
just continuing to build Just Be Consulting. And I've taken a bit of a social media break during this time because just being inundated with seeing people killed for entertainment is just not great for my psyche. So I do have a Facebook that I'm never on and Instagram that I spy on people, and that is Sarita B MFT. But I have taken a break from that, so I probably won't be on for the next couple weeks. And
your website.
My website is Sarita Butler MFT, and also my grandfather is coming home on Thursday from being in the hospital for the last month, so I'm excited for that.
Very good. Well, we will actually be having a third panel of our African American officers, police officers, law enforcement, to continue the conversation that we had last week. If you haven't seen it, then go to the Sand and Shores page and you can check that out, or the YouTube page. It's posted there. It was pretty intriguing. We've gotten a lot of feedback, and it's actually posted now in the NPHC group 52-week challenge. So they're having that discussion, and we'll be able to take those comments and bring them back to the officers. Maybe we'll add some officers that you guys can kind of hear from. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm working currently with the Redondo Beach Police Foundation. We are looking at launching a youth program. They have really come to the table in regards to talking about how all of this that's going on is affecting our youth. I am incredibly disappointed that these aren't conversations that have been going on. I know we here in the South Bay have had a very large anxiety rating has been the highest here in the South Bay. And I brought it up some time ago that maybe racial tensions or the race issue may have been something that is causing anxiety. But it looks like now the Police Foundation is looking to do some things to start those conversations, and we hope to roll that out before the end of the summer. So I'm excited to work with them on that. And you can continue to, follow Sand and Shores on all platforms, and we'll keep you posted, keep you updated on what's going on there. For all of you public relations professionals, follow Black Public Relations Society Los Angeles. We have some awesome programs coming out for them. And I am actually in charge of the professional development. So we have some pretty cool programs coming to help solopreneurs and small business owners in the communications and public relations space. So, there's plenty of opportunities to keep in touch with all of us. We're always here to help. I'll be launching office hours also. So, I just implore you all, use your resources, check in, keep in touch, build relationships, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks.
Right. Thank you for having me.
See ya.
Guys.